East Idaho Newsmakers is brought to you by the Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.
This is East Idaho Newsmakers with Nate Eaton.
Welcome to East Idaho Newsmakers. Today we have a local cowboy who is setting records all around the world. Garrett Smith, born and raised in Rexburg, and really taking the bull riding, steer wrestling world by storm. Garrett, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Yes.
Let's get right to it. You set a few records just the other day or earlier this year. Tell us about it.
It was pretty awesome. I got my first win at Houston, and I went to Calgary and won second there, and that was pretty cool.
Second in what? What was
in the bull riding?
In the bull riding. And how many guys were you competing against?
In Houston, there's a little over 50, and then at Calgary, there's 25 maybe. 25.
So does that mean that we could say you're the best in the world?
I don't know about that yet. No,
like that.
No, not quite.
Best in the country, best in Idaho, we could say for sure, right?
We could go with that one, I guess.
Let's go with that one. So you've got a pretty impressive resume here. You won the Washington State Fair Pro Rodeo this year in Puyallup, the Deadwood, South Dakota Days of 76 Rodeo, the Alberta Stampede, looks like the Ponoka and the Strathmore, a few rodeos in Utah, Texas, the War Bonnet Rodeo. Congratulations. What does all of this mean to you? I mean, when you look and see that you're winning rodeo after rodeo after rodeo.
It's pretty awesome. It's kind of like a dream come true. I mean, ever since I was a little teeny kid, this is all I wanted to do. So we're basically living our dream.
Take us back, born in Rexburg. When did you become interested in the rodeo life?
With Dad being a pickup man and Mom being an announcer for the same contractor, we didn't really have a choice. I was pretty much raised in the announcer stand, looking down, and then when I got old enough, I would run out of the announcer stand and run behind the chutes and watch everybody. And we're always just little kids running around, probably annoyed everybody, but it worked out.
So you start running around the rodeo grounds, and at what age do you remember did you decide to hop on a horse or hop on an animal?
Mom and Dad put us on horses ever since we were little, so before we can even remember. We started riding sheep, and then I'd go to calves and then steers, and then I got on my first bull when I was 13.
13. How long did you stay on?
I rode that one, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good for you. So 13, you go to middle school, and that's when you started to compete, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, we've always competed in junior rodeo. There's like 0 to 8 class, and then 9 to 12, and then 13 to 16. So it's kind of, we just made our way up, I guess. So this is kind of all we've known all of our lives.
Mm-hmm. So you do it in middle school, and then in high school, was there a pretty good rodeo team at your school?
We had a little bit of a team, but it's kind of more of just kind of a one-person deal. But high school went great for me, and I had an older brother that I had to look up to and had to try to beat his record, so that kind of gave me a little more drive.
And did you?
Yep, I did.
I'm sure that's great conversation when you all get together.
Oh, yeah. He never forgets it.
Yeah, and neither do you, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he's got a college record that I didn't quite get, so
okay.
He's got that one on
so
me.
Yeah, at least he has something. So you're in high school, you're competing. There's a lot of guys that do this. At what point do you think, I'm better than these other guys? Like, I can take this further. And what did you do to be able to take it further?
I don't know if there's really a point, but after I won the first title in nationals, I won the all-around. That's kind of when I thought that I could kind of go somewhere, I guess. But we always practiced every day. We'd have kind of an event we'd practice each day, and with Wyatt there and all that stuff. And I actually got homeschooled when I was 8th grade, so I went and lived with Wyatt, the older brother, at college, and I got to practice with all the college kids, and it made me step up to their level, which I had to grow up pretty fast. Mm-hmm. So that was probably the best part of it.
And so you were able to see what they did so that you could start early to figure out mm-hmm. how you could advance.
Exactly, yep, that was nice.
Yeah, I bet. So what was do you remember your first big competition?
My first pro rodeo ever was in Starksville, Mississippi, when I just barely turned 18. And I went down there with Wyatt. We were supposed to bulldog, ride broncs, and get on a bull. And we only got to get on a bronc and a bull because the bull logging was the next day and we had to miss it. But I was 86 in the bull riding and won that, and then I was 82 in the bronc riding and won second. So then I thought it was going to be really easy after that, but turns out they don't get any easier.
They don't. Explain to the average person out there that might not be familiar with the rodeo world. I mean, I don't. I go to a rodeo once a year and watch the guys hop on animals. How does it work, and how does it work for you if you want to make this a career?
Well, when you're 18, you can get your pro permit in the PRCA, and when you get your permit, you can go to certain rodeos, the littler ones, and you have to work your way up. But you have to win, I think, $3,000 to buy your card, and then once you buy your card, you get to go and you're able to be like a rookie of the year and stuff.
You have to win $3,000, and with that you can buy a card.
Yep, you can get your card, which is what everybody else has.
And that like certifies you or makes you legit?
Gets you into the bigger rodeos. Like some of the big rodeos, they only take people on their cards.
Okay.
So, and then we all have to pay an entry fee for every rodeo. So it's kind of a pay-to-play deal. And if we don't stay on, we don't get paid. And
so you're kind of scout out which rodeos you want to compete in.
Yep.
And then you pay, you enter, you have your card, so you're official. And then based on how well you do at those rodeos is how much money you make.
Yep.
And then if you do really well at, say, a big rodeo in Houston or something, are there other rodeos that think, hey, we gotta keep an eye on this guy?
It's pretty much just the higher you are in the standings is kind of the better you get in, depending on what day you go. So you start at the bottom, go to the little rodeos that add $2,000, $3,000, and then you have to do good at a bunch of those, and then finally you get they call them qualifications. So it's basically enough money, and then you can get into the bigger ones. And then once you get into the bigger ones, you got to keep doing good to stay getting into them. So.
And you've reached that level. You're in the big ones.
Yeah.
You started professionally at 18, and you're 22 now? So you've been doing this for 4 years. What's been the biggest thing you've learned as you've traveled the country doing this?
The biggest thing I've actually learned, I learned it from a guy named Tag Elliott. I traveled with him last year, and he's made the finals before, and he's from Utah. But he kind of taught me not to overthink things. I mean, you're gone away from home pretty much 24/7. So it was pretty easy back in high school when you could go somewhere, and then if you messed up or something, you could come home and practice. But when you're on the road, there's no practicing. So basically, as you're going and you mess up, do something bad, there's no correcting it. So you just got to forget about it. So you take the good and the bad and go through it all, and you just can't dwell on all the bad things. Like you get bucked off, you just say, all right, over it, there's more. So when we're going to 120 rodeos a year, we don't really have time to dwell on the bad stuff. So just take the positives and go to the next one.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about what life is like on the road for you, what the schedule is, and the toll that this may take on your body, and how you keep in shape, and also what's next for you, and a lot more. So we'll be right back with Garrett Smith.
At the Bank of Commerce, we understand the hard work, determination, and sacrifice it takes to run a successful business. That's why we're here every step of the way to help make your dreams come true. The Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.
Welcome back to East Idaho Newsmakers. Garrett Smith is our guest today, local boy born and raised in Rexburg who has been competing around the globe in a bunch of rodeos. Garrett, let's talk about what a day for you on the road involves. I mean, are you practicing before these rodeos, or are you just holding it all for the competition?
A day on the road. Well, to be honest, we're basically driving. So we kind of have a pretty good team we go with, so it works out. I'm the night driver, so after the rodeo, I'll get in and drive till 4 or 5 in the morning, and then
to your next destination.
Yep. And then somebody else will get in and drive, and then we basically show up, get on our bulls, and start driving again, to be honest. We just have a a big van with some beds in it and a shower and all that stuff. So it's pretty much, we have a home on wheels.
And do you do any sort of practice before the main event, stretch or anything like that, or you just go?
I basically just go. There's a lot of guys that stretch and do a lot of other unnecessary things, I guess. But no, I pretty much just hang out, and then when it's time to go, just get on and go back to the van and drive again.
Describe the moment when you hop on the bull. I mean, does your mind go like in the zone? Or do you have a zone for you, or is it just let's just focus and do this?
Mine does a little bit. I mean, there's not much thinking involved once you actually get on there. So I have a routine I always do once I get in the chute and kind of just roll on from there.
And what's the routine?
There's a lot of things I do, I guess. It's just kind of the way I set my rope and warm it up. And then right after I take my wrap, just take a deep breath and then slide up. And if he's looking, I nod. So I guess it sounds pretty simple.
Have you had any close calls? Had one land on you or been stomped on? Or
I got knocked out a few times this year, and then over the career I broke probably 4 or 5 helmets. I did have one step on my back with both feet so hard that I couldn't get air for so long and passed out. So broken a few bones, arms, legs, a jaw, pretty simple stuff.
have you ever thought, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore because of that? Or
No.
you get back up?
Yeah, just get up and get on another one the next day.
How does your body hold up under this constant, I don't want to say trauma, but constant, physical activity?
This year it's held up pretty good, but I'm pretty lucky because I got an awesome chiropractor that does good. It's Jeff at Streamline. He's awesome.
How do you feel today?
I feel good, finally. So, like I said, this year's been great, and I've been healthy, so.
So you said you compete 120 rodeos about a year?
We went to about 120, I think.
So that's like two a week, give or take. Are there months, though, I guess you mainly do it in the summer and the spring, fall maybe?
Like I finally have all month off this month, and then April there's not too much, and then after that, like July, we'll go to one every day.
How much have you made? Do you know off the top of your head doing this? This paper I have here says from the PRCA Rodeo, your career earnings are $266,814, but that was as of last year. So it's probably gone up significantly more.
Yeah, I think it doubled.
Doubled. And is this something you want to make a career out of? How long does a cowboy normally go?
It kind of depends, especially on the bull riding. It's kind of whether you get hurt real bad, or it's basically how healthy you can stay. There's a guy that's kind of been one of my heroes, Wes Silcox, and he's still going, and he's 10 years older than I am. So I guess you just never know. It just depends on how much heart you have and how much you really want to do this.
Is there an ultimate goal in mind for you, some rodeo out there that you'd love to be in, like the mecca of rodeos?
I actually got to do that this year in Calgary, Alberta.
Tell us about that.
That place was awesome. It was probably the biggest arena, biggest crowd I've ever seen. And the first rounds we get on 4 bulls. And then after that you get on another bull. It's the top 12. And then they narrow it down to the top 10 maybe. And then it's the top 4 after that. So we get on a lot of bulls there, but I ended up placing second by like a half a point or something like that. So it was pretty crazy.
That's pretty impressive. That's good. So where do you see yourself in 10 years? Still doing this?
If my body's healthy, I will be. If not, I see myself raising bulls. So
You want to go into breeding them and...
We've been breeding them and raising them for a little while now, and there's an awesome guy. He's kind of like my second dad that we've been kind of running some bulls together. So it's been great, and it's been fun, and I like watching them grow up. So once I'm done with rodeo, I never really want to get out of rodeo. So that's the best way.
What do you think your being born and raised in East Idaho has done for you in your career? And do you want to stay here? Do you want to stay in Idaho?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot warmer places, so I'm not much for the cold after I get done snowboarding a few times. But I guess we'll see. The thing about raising bulls is there's a lot more opportunity south. So and then we can get on bulls all year round instead of freezing half the year.
And being raised here, do you think that that has impacted how you've been able to go on and advance your career?
Yeah, I've loved it here. Through high school, even the little kid events, there's been so many great Cowboys here that's helped me along my way, and so many people I'd like to thank for it. So growing up here has been truly awesome.
Do you see the industry changing much over the coming years?
I don't think so, not much. The only bad thing is rodeo's kind of a dying breed now, so there's not a lot of Cowboys left. And that's the only bad thing about it. And we have a bunch of schools and stuff, and that's helped a lot more people come up and rodeo better and learn the basics of it. So as long as we keep doing that, hopefully rodeo keeps growing.
So you mentioned that you might want to go down to the south and raise bulls, but there's southern Cowboys that it might be a little different than Cowboys here. Is there a difference?
There's quite a bit of difference, I guess. It all goes back to what kind of bulls we started getting on. And down there they get on a lot of smaller, fast spinning bulls. And then up here we get on big, a lot bigger, we'll say that. And they're a lot more up and down and more old school to ride, like back in the day what they used to ride. So there's a lot of difference in our riding styles and how we perform down there and they perform up here.
You mentioned Project Filter, and we can see Project Filter on your shirt there. Tell us a little bit about that project. Why did you decide to get involved with that?
They started getting involved with Wyatt when he was in high school, and then when I got to be a freshman is when I got involved with them, and it is great. We get to go around talking to like fairs and set up booths, and the best thing that I like about it is on my off season I get to go talk to elementary schools and all that about staying off drugs and tobacco and dreams and goals. And so this month I'll hit probably 10 to 13 little kids schools. So that's probably my favorite part about it, just seeing the look on their little faces. So it's nice.
And I'm sure they love seeing you come in with your cowboy hat and in your gear. And
yeah, we play a video, and at the end of the video, it's got one of my rides where I get knocked out, and they all go crazy. And I think it's the coolest thing ever. So
that's great. Well, we wish you the best. You have an impressive resume, impressive career highlights. You've won all sorts of rodeos. What's your next one coming up? Do you know off the top of your head?
I'll go to our circuit finals, 1st of November, the Canadian National Finals the week after that, and then the NFR in December. But for now, I'm going to take the whole week off and go talk to little kids' schools for Project Filter and relax.
Garrett Smith, we will put a link to his website and his Facebook page. You can learn more about him. We're glad he could be here with us today, and have a good week.
East Idaho Newsmakers is brought to you by the Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.